How long do we have to go? How much do we have to put up with? Lord, when is it going to come to an end? People aren't getting paid what they're worth. By design, the world controllers. If we go back to 1963, John F. Kennedy called out the dark forces. And you know how he did it? Welcome back, everybody. You are watching or listening to Dream Life Podcast. I am your host, Steve Buck, and my co-host with me now, as usual, is
Gabie.
Gabie, good to have you with us again, buddy. This podcast, this episode, is going to be on fire, and it's just power-packed with just some crazy stuff. In the last episode, I talked about the idea that we're going to contrast the world as it is that Oliver Anthony sings about in his song, Rich Men North of Richmond. And so to refresh everybody's memory, we're just going to play maybe half the song, okay, because I want everybody to have a good starting point. Okay, and then we're going to take them to outer space. So, without any further ado, let's see the world the way Oliver Anthony sees it.
I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away, drag back home and drown my troubles away. It's a damn shame.
Okay. So he's painting a picture of this world where too many people are selling their soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay. People aren't getting paid what they're worth. By design, the world controllers, this is part of their design. Okay, continue on.
What the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you, wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is. Living in the new world with an whole soul.
Okay, people living in a new world with an old soul, knowing that it should be better, it can be better, but it isn't.
These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just want to have total control. Want to know what you think, want to know what you do, and they don't think you know. I know that you do.
Okay, so he's painting more of the picture of the problem with this country is there's a bunch of these people, these rich men in Washington, D.C., who are trying to control the people. And you say to yourself, well, they're supposed to be public servants. They are the furthest thing that you can get from a public servant, okay?
Right.
They're there. I'm not going to say all of them because there's a few good people in Washington, D.C. Very few. Okay, but the vast majority of them are there just to pack their pockets full of cash. These people, do you realize that there's not one person in Washington, D.C. that has a 5-figure paycheck?
That sucks. That's terrible.
Literally, there's not one person. There's not one person in Washington, D.C. that has a 5-figure paycheck. Every single solitary person in Washington, D.C. has a minimum of a 6-digit paycheck.
Even the president.
Well, the president's salary it's too low.
Yeah, like $450,000.
Yeah, that's
right.
$450,000. It's for the hardest job in the world. $450. I mean, that's too low. You know, we'll get into that further. All right. So he's painting this picture. The average guy is selling his soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay, and even with all of his overtime, if he breaks $50,000, he's lucky. In the meantime, you got all these bureaucrats down in Washington, D.C.
Right.
They don't work 40 weeks a year if they do any real work at all, okay? Number one. Number two, they got benefits that, you know, from here to Albany you take to make up the list of benefits they get. 6 weeks paid vacation. It goes on and on and on.
Right.
Okay. And then after COVID, they didn't even go into the office and they sat in their apartment and they're making $140,000 a year, right? You know, filling out forms for the Department of the Treasury. You know, it just ridiculous stuff. So the Richmond, north of Richmond, they've gamed the system.
Right.
Okay. And they thought we weren't paying attention that the factory worker down in Tennessee or West Virginia or South Carolina or North Carolina was making $50,000 a year working their ass off. And then these bureaucrats sit in their ivory towers in Washington, D.C., making six figures, laughing all the way to the bank. Okay. This is the picture. This is the picture that he's painting. Let's keep going.
If your dollar ain't shit and it's taxed to no end, cause the rich men, cause the rich men.
All right, even if I do start off with $1,000, if you take out all the taxes, that $1,000 immediately is $30 after you take out the property tax, the income tax, the social security tax, the telecommunications, okay,
and all of them.
the let's support the electric car industry tax, the school tax, the county tax, the town tax, the village tax. There's everything's taxed. So you start off with $1,000. Now it's okay after taxes. After all the taxes, okay, it's really $300. Taxed into oblivion, so that even if you have $1,000, you're really only starting out with $300.
Right.
Let's keep going.
I wish politicians would look out for minors, and not just minors on an island somewhere. Lord.
Ooh, okay. Watching out for miners, M-I-N-E-R, miners, coal miners, okay? That's the context of the first part. Not just minors, M-I-N-O-R-S, minor children on an island somewhere, okay? And so now we get into the nitty-gritty, okay? And I'm going to tell the audience right now, just because of the rules of Fluff Tube, I will use the word allegedly, okay? And when I use the word alleged, what you will interpret that to mean is guaranteed. So the miners, watching out for minors, M-I-N-O-R-S, not just watching out for minors on an island somewhere. You need to understand what they were doing to these children, allegedly, on Epstein Island. Now, Epstein Island, these elites, they're very sick individuals, okay? They allegedly had a satanic altar and a satanic synagogue, or whatever you want, the synagogue of Satan, okay? And they allegedly did child sacrifices, okay, to Satan on Epstein Island. Now, why is this important to understanding the future? I'm going to finish the ugly version of what's really happening in the world. Oliver Anthony, paints the bad picture, but I'm painting the rest of the story, which is the evil picture of the dirty deeds that are going on, allegedly, from the world controllers. Things like Epstein Island,
Right.
and the things that happened to Epstein Island, okay, those things need to be broadcast to the world. Now, I want the audience to understand that the most richest, the most powerful elitist on earth visited Epstein Island, okay? Now, why did they visit Epstein Island, okay? They allegedly raped, they allegedly tortured, and then they would allegedly sacrifice these children in the synagogue of Satan, okay? Now, again, we're contrasting the world that we're in now to the world that we're going into. So that's Epstein Island, okay? Prince Andrew, Bill Clinton, Bill Gates, Jamie Dimon, allegedly are on this list, okay? Why don't they give us the list of the people who were engaged in this abominable conduct? They're rich and they're powerful. That's why we're not going to see the list,
Right.
okay? So allegedly, if we go back to 1963, John F. Kennedy called out the dark forces, okay? And you know how he did it? He basically talked about the stigma and the evil doings of the secret societies, things like the Masons. Allegedly, they use symbology as their thing, okay?
Right.
They like to mock us with their symbology, okay, with their 666 and their 33-degree Mason, okay? All of these different things of these different secret societies, and they have their secret handshakes, okay? It's the secret societies, and it's the things that are being done in secret, okay? That's why we are where we're at. And these people in the secret societies, they mock us. They mock us with their symbology and, all their nonsense. So the other thing is, let's talk about the drug trade. We touched on that a little bit in the last session, and I said that we're going to do a deep dive into the drug trade here. So the United States of America, we could stop drug trafficking in 7 days. We could shut down every tunnel, every vehicle, every boat, every submarine, anything that they could think of. Okay. We have the surveillance equipment to know everything that they're doing. The tunnels, all the tunnels that they have, the illegal tunnels that they have, that they've drilled, we could knock those out. We could make it perfectly impossible for them not to get 1 ounce of cocaine across the border. But again, they decide not to because of the fact that there's world controllers that have infiltrated our government, our institutions, higher learning, CEOs of major corporations. They're in COO position, the CEO position, the president, you know what I'm saying? That they're just all these infiltrators. They've infiltrated our government. They've infiltrated our 3-letter agencies, the CIA, the FBI, the DNI, the 17 intelligence branches of our intelligence agencies. They've infiltrated all of those. Okay. So we've got the Epstein type people of the world and the Bill Gates trafficking, sex trafficking kids, raping, murdering them, and sacrificing them to Satan at Epstein Island. And that's only one of 3 islands from what is allegedly happened down there. Okay. So the next thing that we've got is arms dealing. Okay. And you say, Steve, why would you talk about arms trade? Well, did you ever stop and contemplate, you look in like Iraq and Iran and Libya and Yemen, and you look at all these places, and there's these guys running around with rockets launchers on their shoulder, and they got hand grenades and bombs. And where are they getting it? Where are they getting this stuff from? They're getting this stuff from the military-industrial complex. That's the same military-industrial complex that President Eisenhower warned us about back in the 1950s, okay? President John F. Kennedy warned us about the secret societies. We've got the military-industrial complex, okay? And all these bombs and grenades and rocket launchers and all this stuff. Well, now it's coming home, okay? And very shortly, you're going to see attacks within the United States of America with these rocket launchers and with these, devices of terror. Okay. And that's the reason that I bring up the arms traders. Okay. Because there's billions of dollars. Billions and billions of dollars of military grade artillery that is sold on the black market every single year. All right. So here's our list. Okay. We have the sex trafficking of children. And women and men. Okay. Number 1, human trafficking. Number 2, we got the drug trade. Number 3, we've got the military industrial complex illegally putting terroristic arms in the hands of bad people. Number 4, we're going to talk about the alleged control of the church, okay? And when I say the church, I'm talking about all major religions, be it Catholicism, Presbyterianism, Episcopalianism, all of them, okay? From the sources that I follow, it's alleged that in 2018, Donald Trump, when he visited the Vatican, and if you look at the photo online of the Pope meeting with Donald Trump, he doesn't look very happy with Donald Trump. And we're just going to look this up and just see what we got here. Okay. Take a look at that. Does that guy look like he's very excited to see Donald Trump? No, he's not. He's not excited at all. Do you know why? Because Donald Trump is about to tell the Pope that all the gold that they have buried in tunnels underneath the Vatican is going to be returned to the United States of America by the United States military. And shortly after this meeting, Donald Trump allegedly ordered 650 planes be sent over to Italy. Our military went in allegedly to the tunnels, got 650 plane loads of our gold, okay, that they were holding as restitution from the Civil War, and he went and he got it. Now, I did the math on it. 650 plane loads of gold is 195 million pounds of gold. That's a lot of money, okay? So we'll just watch this clip a little bit more right here.
President Trump and the Pope put aside their differences for their first
So Donald Trump was basically, when he did his world tour, he basically got all the world leaders and the world religions and like the royal Saudi family, they all capitulated to him when he went on his world tour in 2017. Okay. Now look at the look on Trump's face and look at the face on the Pope. Okay. The look on Donald Trump's face is the look of a guy who's just about to pick up 650 plane loads of gold. Okay. And the look on the Pope's face is the guy who has to load the plane. Okay. This guy doesn't know whether to shit or go blind. Okay. Now, Trump is about to sit down, embark orders at the Pope and tell him exactly what he's going to do. And again, so the Pope, he has no option. It's not optional whether we're coming to get our gold. We're coming to get it. A lot of people don't know, well, why was our gold there? Well, the world controllers hijacked our country in 1871. In 1871, after the Civil War, we owed debts to the people who were giving us financing for the war. In order to pay back the debt, they took our country from a republic and they incorporated it, okay, because our republic can't take on debt. So they had to take our republic and they had to transform our republic into a corporation. And that's the corporation that they established in 1871. Once they established this corporation in 1871, what it did was it allowed them to begin to take gold out of our country, okay, for compensation for financing the Civil War. I just want to finish up with this video. So the Pope is basically saying, is there, I can load the plane, and Trump's saying, well, good. I'm glad you're prepared to do that. What you'll notice in this visit, they're dressed in black, like they're going to a funeral, and Melania was dressed in black as well. Look at this. Look at this. They're dressed in black like it's a funeral. And if look in the caption up here, and it says, Pope Francis jokingly asks Melania what she's feeding Donald Trump. That's because Donald Trump is going around the world and he's just destroying everybody in his pathway. And Melania and Ivanka, they're looking at him dressed in black for a reason. You know what that reason is?
Done.
That's right. Guess what the Pope allegedly is involved with?
Child pornography.
Well,
Allegedly.
he's allegedly involved in child rape, beatings, and sacrifice to Satan. Well, you say to yourself, wait a minute. The Pope is involved in this?
That's crazy.
People, I hate to break it to you, the Pope and a lot of other people who you would not suspect are involved in a lot of satanic, really bad things. And all this stuff is going to be coming to roost, allegedly. And again, this is all allegations. We don't know this for fact, okay? But I'm finishing painting the picture of what Oliver Anthony is talking about in this shit show of a world that we live in. Oliver Anthony is saying, someday, when are we going to wake up? When are we going to wake up and it's not going to be like this?
Right.
Lord, how long do we have to go? How much do we have to put up with these evil world controllers they're making our lives miserable on purpose just so that we can just barely exist. They're stuffing drugs down the throats of the inner city black man. They're just stripping people of their dignity of making an honest wage. They're making war zones out of so many countries that don't have a military that can maintain peace like the military of the United States. And it's like all this stuff. Lord, when is it going to come to an end? So I want to just finish going down through this video a little bit. Just look at this. When have you ever seen Melania Trump dressed like this? I mean, this is it's outlandish. What you give him to eat? Well, for breakfast he has pedophiles. For lunch he eats drug dealers, and for dinner I think all the other bastards, okay, that are doing bad shit. So here Trump is giving him books from Martin Luther King. You can't make this stuff up, okay? This is how you're supposed to conduct yourself, you little pedophile. Trump, I won't forget what you said. Do you know what he said? He said, we can start loading first thing in the morning. That's what he said. And he's got this look on his face, biting his tongue like, when is this guy going to leave? This is too painful. I need him to go now. Not Christian. Oh, my Lord. From a Satanist, okay, from a pedophile. Building a wall to secure our culture and our country is not Christian. Coming from the most not Christian evil SOB on the planet. This Pope is such a joke, okay, because allegedly part of the world controller's plan is to eliminate all borders so that you eliminate all culture and you destroy the idea of countries, republics, okay, that are different unto their own, okay? And then if you don't have any countries and if you don't have any borders, what can they usher in? A one world government of tyrants, all right?
Yeah.
Just like the rich men north of Richmond, all they want to do is have total control.
Yeah.
You know what they think and you know what they do. So we have infiltrators in our country, in our big corporations, all levels of government. We have infiltrators in our military, okay? And these infiltrators are there allegedly to destroy our country from within, okay? Because remember, the communist Russians, and I'm not talking about all Russians, because the vast majority of Russian people are lovely, God-fearing people, okay? It wasn't until the Khazarian Mafia took over Russia in the Bolshevik Revolution, okay? That's when the communists started doing their mass murder and all of their communist satanic stuff. And it destroyed the country that the czars had built of Russia. Most people have no idea about the background of Russia. Russia is a very good nation, a very good people, but just like our country, they were hijacked, okay? But Putin and the other non-communist people in Russia who operate along the lines of the czars, they're kicking them out of the country, okay? And the Russian people love Vladimir Putin, and they love him because of the fact that he's given them peace and tranquility in that country like they've never had for a century. So we talked about the human traffickers. We talked about the drug runners. We talked about the arms dealers. The next thing we need to talk about is the mind controllers. Currently, right now, we are living in World War IV. And let me tell you what the first three World Wars. First was World War I, back in the 19-teens. Then there was World War II, which was in the 1940s. The Cold War that we had with a nuclear standoff, that was World War III. World War IV is an information war. An information war is what they call irregular warfare, which they try to control the narrative, and it's a fight for the hearts and the minds of people and what they believe. So General Michael Flynn has a book out called Fifth Generation Warfare. And when people think of war, you know, they think of tanks and they think of planes and bombs and this and that.
Right.
Well, the war that we're in right now, it has absolutely nothing to do with planes and bombs and tanks and conventional kinetic warfare items. So this fifth generation warfare, the media has been involved with it because this stuff goes back 50 years allegedly. Where, and again, all this stuff is allegedly that the media controls the news every day, so they control what we see and what we hear. Okay, and those are very powerful tools in the fifth generation war. Okay, however, over the past 7 years, the United States military has been doing reverse psyops. So let's talk about what a psyop is. A psyop is a psychological operation. Allegedly, the CIA has been doing illegal psyops on the American people through the media for 50 years, okay? Allegedly, the CIA happens to be involved in all of the lives and involved with the psychologist for all these mass shooters, okay? So they allegedly, if you see a mass shooting, they're allegedly all Democrats, number one. And number two, they allegedly all have a psychiatrist. Isn't that interesting that every single solitary mass shooter has a psychologist?
Right.
I wonder who that psychologist works for. I allegedly say that those psychologists work for the CIA and are instrumental in doing these or helping these people get to a state of mind where maybe they'll do these types of things. But again, this is just allegations. We don't know if it really happened. So the psychological operations, what they'll do is they'll have, if they're doing a news story, okay, and they want to put out a certain talking point, or if they want the public to believe a certain thing about a certain story, what they'll do is they'll coordinate, allegedly. Again, this is just allegations. I mean, although you can see it clear as day, it's still allegations that the media colludes amongst themselves. And when they put the talking point out, they're all saying the same basic phrases.
Right.
Okay. And so what happens? Well, if people see it on CNN or Fox or ABC or NBC, and it's all the same talking point, what they do is they create an echo chamber. Oh, well, everybody's saying the same thing. So if everybody's saying the same thing, well, it must be true. Nothing but bullshit. So for the past 7 years, the United States military has been doing reverse psychological operations on the American people, okay? This same exact operation allegedly is happening worldwide in all of the 36 largest countries around the world, which are the most influential on the world population.
Right.
This same military operation allegedly is going on in the 36 largest countries, and they're coordinating their efforts with the United States of America. Okay, so we've got the evil, allegedly, of mainstream media who have been running illegal psychological operations on the population, allegedly, for 50 years. So let's get a little bit further into the world of religions, okay? Anybody who knows anything about the Bible, that the Bible clearly says that a man is not to have homosexual relations with a man. That's what the Bible says. Okay. I happen to believe the Bible. Okay. And how can a worldwide religion like the Episcopalians, how can they endorse a homosexual pastor?
Yeah, right.
Right?
Making up their own rules.
Well, no. They're not making up their own rules. What they're doing is they're infiltrating. These infiltrators, big business, big government, big media, big religion, anything big, they allegedly have infiltrated everything, okay? So if you've got this group of, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 million people out of 7.8 billion people, if you've got this 5 million people infiltrated all of this stuff all around the world at all different levels, now can you begin to see why we have a shit show? Okay.
Put all they ducks in line.
That's well, everything that we're suffering under is by design. They didn't do it overnight. They did it a little bit at a time.
Okay? A lot of it was done through the media too. TV, all of that.
Well, yeah. The media, big education, colleges, universities, schools, they infiltrated everything. Okay. So I'm going to conclude this episode there. Okay. Because I think that gives our audience a good picture of why does it suck to be us? It sucks to be us because allegedly we've got these 4 or 5 million people who are minions to the world controllers going around creating the shit show that we have. Okay. And getting people to buy into it, and people have bought into it.
Right.
Okay. But